GoForThe2.com in with the Week 11 predictions. Apologies for the short video due to schedule logistics. Putting out the rapid-fire selections. I'll put out 2 videos next Tuesday night, so check that out. But tomorrow night, Wednesday, November 11th, I'll be on In-Game Live on Sports Grid Network, sportsgrid.com. We'll be breaking down all the MAC games on Wednesday night. 3 of them, 3 solid battles. Central Michigan, Northern Illinois, Western Michigan, Toledo. Also have that Eastern Michigan and Ball State matchup. So tune in, sportsgrid.com, 9 p.m. Eastern to 12 a.m. Eastern this coming Wednesday, November 11th. Then Saturday, College Football Today kicks off 10 a.m. to 12 p.m. Eastern. sportsgrid.com, sportsgrid.com. Also MSG Plus, MSG Networks. Tune in to your local cable provider. We go through all the top 25 battles. I give you all my best bets that are on this video, along with some of the under-the-radar games. Give a lot of first-half totals and first-half sides. They've been actually pretty hot over the last couple of weeks. So tune in this coming Saturday on MSG Plus, MSG Network. This Saturday, 10 a.m. to 12 p.m. Eastern, College Football Today on sportsgrid.com. Then after, on In-Game Live, 5 straight hours, me and Scott Wetzel, 12 p.m. to 5 p.m. Eastern. Tune into sportsgrid.com. Sportsgrid.com, we break down all the in-game wagering angles for all the 12 o'clock games. Some great 12 o'clock action this coming Saturday. We have Miami, Va-Tech, Penn State, Nebraska. Maybe from a record perspective, not marquee battles of top 10 teams, but still some solid slate to get you through to 3:30. Also have some marquee battles at 3:30. Notre Dame, Boston College. Can Notre Dame be on upset alert? And then have some quality matchups later in the night. Even though there's some cancellations in the SEC, it doesn't matter. We're forging ahead. Have a great slate of college football action. 5 picks in the video. Let's jump right into it. It starts in that 12 o'clock battle. Penn State, Nebraska. Penn State reeling after that loss to Maryland. Just think about this statistic. Prior to Penn State's loss last week, they were 42-1 straight up all time against Maryland last week. They won the last 3 matchups against the Terps by an average margin of victory of 52.7 points per game, and they just walked through the motions last week. After that loss to Ohio State, it looked like they didn't even care. Sean Clifford, some poor decisions early. Defensively, they just could not get into rhythm. And that secondary really has some issues heading onto the road with Nebraska. On the flip side, I was on Nebraska last week. They played a very tough game against Northwestern. Turnovers killed this team. Luke McCaffrey took over for Adrian Martinez. Martinez threw a costly interception into the end zone when the team was driving down by 8 points. Couldn't find a way to get his team into the end zone. Scott Frost turned to Luke McCaffrey. Luke McCaffrey moved the football, but he did it on the ground with his legs, made solid decisions, got his team into the red zone, then throws a costly interception inside the 5-yard line. That really turned the game around. Nebraska had another opportunity with about 10 seconds left, couldn't convert on 4th down. This game is going to come down to which team wants it more, which team is going to be able to run the football, and more importantly, make a defensive stop. I'm going to still buy into Nebraska here, 0-2 overall. They've been running the football consistently. You look against Ohio State, Northwestern, bigger physical defensive fronts. They rushed for over 200. I know Ohio State came in mop-up duty. They put up 210, but they put up 224 against a very physical front 7 in Northwestern. I expect Scott Frost to implement both McCaffrey and Martinez in this matchup, utilize their legs on the perimeter, and that can open up the play-action passing game for the Cornhuskers. I expect them to be in this matchup. It's a must-win with a younger head coach. The expectations aren't there yet like they are on the flip side with Penn State First time they're 0-3, I believe, since I think it was 1974. So keep an eye out for that. Penn State plays much better at home than they do on the road, and that's a concern for me going up against Nebraska. I know Nebraska is not elite, but I think they can make enough plays to strike the upset as a minor dog at home in Lincoln, 12 o'clock Eastern time. Just not sold on the consistency of Sean Clifford on the road in this spot. Think about this. Penn State, prior to that loss against Maryland, 26-2 at home. Over the last 2 years on the road or on a neutral field site, Penn State 8-5 on the road. So keep an eye out for that as they travel on the road to Lincoln this coming Saturday. Another battle takes place in Louisiana between Tulane and Army. Tulane has won 3 straight in the series by an average margin of victory of 5.4 points per game. Picked up this victory last year on the road in West Point, 42-33. Army has not played in 3 weeks, and some might look at that as a benefit for the Cadets. I look at it as a possible detriment going up against a solid team in the interior in Tulane. Tulane has picked it up in recent weeks against Temple and East Carolina. They're running the football more consistently, rushed for over 200 against Temple, rushed for over 200 again against East Carolina, held a huge lead at half, and more importantly, the front seven is starting to come through, especially in run support. Held Temple to 2.1 yards per carry, held East Carolina to 1.2, and already faced a triple option in Navy earlier in the year. They did allow 200 rushing yards in that battle, but let's keep in mind they did run up a 24-0 first half lead before Navy came back and struck the upset 27-24 in that matchup. I like the way Tulane's running the football. I like Pratt at the quarterback position, 12 touchdowns, 4 interceptions. I think they're physical at the point of attack, and I'm going to take my chances with the better defense in this ball game. I think it's Tulane. They also have speed on the perimeter. Cameron Carroll, a solid running back that took over for Tajay Sparks, has been playing well, averaging over 4.5 yards per carry. I think Tulane does get a double-digit win over the Cadets this coming Saturday in Louisiana. Another big battle takes place on the road in Tucson. It's USC and Arizona. USC did get a 1-point victory over the Sun Devils. Arizona hasn't played a game yet. Their game against Utah got canceled last week, but cause of concern. Just the series perspective, USC has won 7 straight in the series over the Wildcats. They've won the last 4 by an average margin of victory of 17.2 points per game. Picked up this victory last year in the Coliseum, 41-14. I like the way USC played in terms of the secondary. They only gave up 134 passing yards to Jaden Daniels. There is some concern still in run support. The front seven allowed 258 rushing yards to Arizona State's rushing attack. And keep in mind, when you look at the difference between Arizona State last year to this year, Arizona State rushed for only 3.6 yards per carry, 13 rushing touchdowns in 2019. In 2018, they were averaging 4.7 yards per carry and 26 rushing touchdowns. So to put up 258 from a defensive perspective is a cause of concern for the USC Trojans as they navigate through the Pac-12 schedule. But going up against a more finesse type of team in Arizona, I think they dominate this matchup. You look at the speed on the perimeter for USC, Amon St. Brown, Tyler Vaughns. I think they can attack Arizona's secondary that last year gave up 289 passing yards per game. Let's also keep in mind 2 of their top tacklers, Tony Fields, Colin Schooler, no longer with the program. That's going to put a lot of pressure on the front seven to shut down the rushing attack of USC. USC did rush for over 150 yards in that matchup against a very solid front seven in Arizona State. And Keaton Slovis, again, another dynamic performance, stepped up 40 of 55, over 220 yards passing, 2 touchdowns, 1 interception. I have the better quarterback. I have the better playmakers going on the road. Must-win situation for USC. No margin for error. I think they cover this 14.5-point number Saturday early afternoon in Tucson. Another big battle takes place. Virginia Tech Miami. I was on Miami last week. They should have won that ball game by 20 points over NC State. Problems in terms of the front seven. Couldn't shut down the run. Couldn't shut down Bailey Hockman. Special teams were a mess. 102 kickoff return in that matchup. Turned the game around. They were not in this ball game. Penalties, 12 penalties for over 120 yards. That's not going to get it done, but it's back-to-back road games for the Hurricanes. It's a must-win spot. I know their backs are against the wall, and when you look at the flip side, you look at Virginia Tech. Virginia Tech with a disappointing loss to Liberty. They got robbed. They were a 16.5-point favorite, minus 700 on the money line, and they block a kick. They run it back, but there's a timeout. All of a sudden, Liberty nails a 51-yarder, and they win the matchup by 3 points. This game's going to come down to which team can run the football, which team can force turnovers and limit mistakes. I have more confidence in Virginia Tech than I do Miami. Miami's averaging 8.6 penalties per game. Still not solid, not consistent enough for me, especially on the road. I know De'Ara King put up 5 touchdowns last week against NC State, but this is a more athletic defense in Virginia Tech. +6 in turnover margin. They won this matchup last year by 7, 42-35. They were a 14.5, 15-point underdog. Hendon Hooker is a mobile quarterback. And more importantly, they're still averaging Virginia Tech 277 rushing yards on the ground. They have a solid offensive line. They have solid linebackers. I'm going to take my chances with Virginia Tech. I think they're the more complete team. I still am not sold on Manny Diaz in terms of a big coaching spot. Give me Justin Fuente laying the 2.5 points in this matchup. I think the Hokies roll by 7 points or more over the Hurricanes. Last battle takes place in the ACC. It's Pittsburgh and Georgia Tech. I'm buying into this Georgia Tech team. Now, Georgia Tech, I know, is, from a statistical standpoint, not playing well. Jeff Sims, inconsistent passer, only 8 touchdowns, 10 interceptions. But he's a young quarterback. And if you watch this game last year, they were 8.5-point underdogs, played Pitt to the limit last year. They were in this ball game from start to finish, lost this matchup by 10 points. Pittsburgh with a dominating road win against Florida State. It's now back-to-back road games, scattered thunderstorms in effect in Atlanta Saturday night. I like the way Jeff Collins coaches. I think, in a rematch type of situation, I like the physicality on the offense and defensive lines. I'm still not sold on Pittsburgh's rushing attack, averaging 2.9 yards per carry. Jalen Camp, Malachi Carter, to me, can stretch Pitt's defense over the top. I think Georgia Tech will be in this game from start to finish, and I think they could strike the upset over the Panthers. I know Pitt is on a roll a little bit here, but I like Georgia Tech, though. I think they strike the upset over the Pitt Panthers. Stay tuned each and every Saturday. I'll be with you, like I said, in-game live Wednesday night. Also, this coming Saturday, College Football Today and in-game live from 10 to 12 and 12 to 5 p.m. Eastern, sportsgrid.com. See you then, everybody. Have a great week.